Beautiful TR4 there. This is the oldest car we've seen so far. Two slices of Americana here. We've got the Ford Edsel. There's the Lost in 7. And here's a bit of a treat waiting for us in the porch when we got back from the Weaver Wander. That's a recent acquisition. Have you done a video on that one yet?
No, I didn't film that.
You haven't filmed that yet, no. Well, welcome to Old Classic Car, and today we are at Crewe Vagrants Sports Club for the annual Weaver Wander, a classic car run that starts in and around the Nantwich area, heads off into the hills somewhere, then returns back a little later in the day for a cup of coffee and a bacon sandwich. We're quite early. This MGR V8 is the first car here, one of the organisers, but I can hear the meaty rumble of a straight six Triumph, and over there we have a TR6 pulling in. The weather forecast is great for today. There's over 150 cars are booked in, so we're going to watch them as they arrive here, park up, and then they set off a little bit later, about 10 o'clock I think. So yeah, we're hoping for some really interesting cars here today. Mazda MX-5 there. We're going to have a mixture of classic and slightly later sports cars, so it's going to be a really interesting variety of cars here today, hopefully. Don't think the Transit's taking part. Wonder if he's coming here. Triumph Stag, perfect for a day like this. A 5 Series BMW, the E34 shape. Super shiny. Another white Triumph Stag arriving. Roof up on this one. Here's that little MG back again. Jaguar follows Saab. MGT-F arrives. Apologies for any shadows that appear in this footage, the sun is still quite low in the sky. Certainly plenty of classic Triumphs here today. Talking of which, meaty sounding Capri. TR4 hotly pursued by a TR6. An XJ6 behind that, one of the X350 aluminium bodied XJ6s. Real variety of cars. Another classic Jaguar here. Beautiful Series 1 fixed head coupe. As I was about to say, a real variety of cars here today on the Weaver Wonder 2023. Beautiful TR4 there. The first Triumph Spitfire of the day, a lovely white example. Have we seen this one before? I'm not quite sure. It's quite a late one, an S, so it's a 1500. Lovely car. Very healthy turnout of Triumphs. Ford Mustang. Burble, burble, burble. TR6, followed by a TR4 that we saw at Combermere only very recently and several times before. BMW Z4 and a second glorious fixed head E-Type. This is a late Series 1, maybe a 1.5. 1966, so it's a 2+2 as well, so it's quite a late Series 1. Many years ago there used to be a pub over there called the Horseshoe, and every year they held a vintage and classic car show in the car park just over there. It's all gone now sadly, but that was a really good show as well. Oh, look at this, a rally prepared TR. Now is it a V8 or has it got the Dolly Sprint 16 valve engine? I'm not quite sure. Sounds like a V8. Mini, hotly pursued by an Austin Healey Sprite. What a cracking day for it. We're so lucky with the weather today. I think all the Triumph Stags in Cheshire are here, judging by the number that have turned up already, which is great to see. I'll include a link at the end of this video to the Weaver Wonder 2022, which started from nearby Hanklow, which is also a village in Cheshire. That was a really well attended event, and we were lucky with the weather that time as well. There's some gorgeous cars pouring in here at the Vagrants Club. Little MGT series, the TR6. A few more classics turning up. A little Triumph at the front there, a little Triumph Saloon. Is that a Dolomite or a 1500 perhaps? Followed by an Anglia 105E. Bright red Stag following behind that. This is the oldest car we've seen so far. Wow, Ford Model A. What's that, about 1929, something like that. Got a TVR Chimera and a Ford Edsel of all things. Wow. Great to see that pale blue Edsel here today. Now there's a rarity, a rotary engine Mazda RX-3. That's a rare car, such a distinctive sound, you probably can't, the microphone might not pick it up, but yeah, rotary engine Mazda, real rarity that is. Lovely Porsche 911 Targa. A couple of MGBs behind that. Guessing this Jaguar XK8 is probably taking part, yeah. A very appropriate CAT registration on it as well. It's an interesting little home-built car. We saw this one somewhere only recently. I think it's Triumph based, if I remember right. Herald, I think. More MGs arriving. A little TC, I think, in the 4. A TD behind that. And a VW Scirocco. You don't see many of those. You don't see too many of those either. The Honda S2000. Triumph TR6 inbound. Regulars to the old classic car channel will see this Alfa Romeo and think, where have we seen this before? Well, we've seen it at the Combermere meeting, possibly Hopley House as well. Videos of all of those events are elsewhere on the channel. There's a little beauty heading towards us, a little Austin. Little Austin 10.4. These were built from 1932 to 1934 only, so they're quite a rare sight now. Lotus Elise behind. Another 3-litre V8 arriving. Such a distinctive engine sound on these Triumphs. Well, we've had quite a few cars arrive now. I'm sure there'll still be a few more inbound, including that XK Jaguar over there. Let's go and have a look and see what's parked up, and just a closer look at what's already arrived here at the Weaver Wonder. Ooh la la! It's a lovely Sunbeam Talbot Tourer. I need to move because I think they're trying to park behind me, so... What a stunning car that is. And the TR5 behind that, fuel injected, 2.5 litre engine, burbling away in the sun there. Behind the TR5 I have an MGB GT with full-length Webasto type sunroof. The 66 Cortina Mark 1 behind that. And a lovely little Morris Cooper, Mini Cooper. What a cracking little car that is. Tartan red and a black roof. Another tin snail, the Citroen 2CV. Ooh, the yellow MX-5. We approve of yellow MX-5s. MGTF. Right, now we're going to have a quick walk around the parked up cars. There's that glorious little Morris Cooper, a little Mini Cooper that came in on a D, so 1966. And just as he says, he's going to go and have a look at all the static cars. Arrives a Series 2 E-Type Roadster. Left-hand drive. Extra marker lamps on the front wings. I'm guessing it's an American import. What a beautiful car that would be to drive today. Clear blue skies, wonderful weather. Let's carry on down this row. The Mark 1 Cortina we saw pulling in just now, the MGB. The Triumph TR5. A quick peek in, the Surrey top has been removed. We've spoken about these before. A lift out metal roof panel. So you got the best of both worlds. You got a fixed, well, you got a semi-fixed metal roof when the weather's bad, and when the weather's like this, you can pop the roof off and hide this away. So I'm not sure if it goes in the seats, behind the seats, or in the boot. But yeah, what a lovely car that is. It's got a period 8-track as well. A Lucas 8-track. Wow. So 8-track was like a form of tape, music tapes, so you could get several tracks on them. And they're quite clever really, but they were replaced by the compact cassette and gradually died a death. Right, let's carry on down here. The Jaguar, of course, the MX-5. Let's go and have a look at the Austin 10. And here's that Austin 10 we saw coming in before, a little 2-seat tourer with Dickie in the back. Like I say, these were only built from 32 to 34, and then they put the painted radiator cowl on them, and that's when the saloons became the Austin 10-4 Litchfield. So this was only made for, well, like I say, 1932, 33 and 34. Various bodies were offered, saloons, I've seen vans. We used to have a 3-position drop head coupe many years ago. Dragged out of a garage down in the southwest. Well, this is a beauty, this is. What a super little car. Plenty of room for the picnic hamper in the back there. What more could you want? It's nice to see a pre-war car taking part in a road event like this. What a beauty. Many of the cars are parked up in this grassy area at the back here, and others are over there, so we'll try and cover everything while we are here. I'm sure there'll still be a few cars that are arriving. We've got that Excalibur kit car that came in before. If you look carefully at the middle bit of that, the centre section is from a Mini. Next to that we've got the Alfa, the 105 Series GTV on an M registration, so early 1970s. What a Bobby Dazzler that is. Next to that, very shiny MX-5 from 2004. Then we've got this recreation replica car inspired by the old DB4 GT Zagato Aston Martins. I think this is based on the BMW Z3, if I remember correctly. And we've got that E34 5 Series BMW, super clean car. Really shiny, really good condition. So hard to keep a red car from fading, especially when it's in daily use, which I think this one is, because we've seen this one at the Crewe Heritage Centre, unless I'm confusing it with another example. Great little Saab, I do miss Saabs. The Jaguar, there's a Z4. And over alongside this Mustang, we've got the Mark 1 Ford Cortina, 4-door car from 1966. What a bonny little car that is. I say little in its day. This was a reasonably sized car, but compared to anything modern, it's probably quite compact. How lovely is that? I love all the gauges in the middle. This is one of the Aeroflow cars. You can tell this, you've got the vents in the back quarters here. The early cars didn't have that. And there's the all-important GT badge. I figured it was probably a GT with all those extra instruments in the middle of the dashboard there. But yeah, what a cracker that is. And look at that steering wheel, I didn't notice that before. If you look closely, you'll see a double L down there. And that is for Les Leston. He did much tuning gear for all sorts of cars back in the 1950s and the 1960s, so that is a super rare steering wheel. There's that replica 427 Cobra we saw driving in before. A little black E30, a two-door saloon, a 3 Series BMW, a Ford Granada, the mighty Ford Granada gear. This lovely little 64 Morris 1100, what a bonny car that is. I just love this car, it's just so reminiscent of cars how they used to be. You know, you see so many sports cars and things around, but these are the cars that people associate with more often than sports cars, I think. Just your regular saloons that were everywhere at one time. Like I've said before, these were best sellers for I think 8 years in the 1960s. But good ones are these, they're so thin on the ground now. What a great little event the Weaver Wonder is. There's an MGB Roadster chrome bumper car on a J plate. Big Mustang. A Welsh registered, a North Welsh registered Ford Capri. There's this Jaguar X350. Obviously this is a classic car channel primarily, but I'm trying to give an overall flavour of just the entire event really, so we'll include some of the more modern cars. But yeah, look at this glorious fixed head coupe Series 1 Jaguar E-Type. Probably still 3.8 I would have thought. Later cars were on the 4.2. There's that jolly white Triumph Spitfire 1500. Oh, there's a super clean car. A couple of yellow ones we see regularly at these events. Someone's coffee's going cold. But I don't remember seeing this white one before. Next to that, beautiful dark blue Triumph TR4, complete with luggage rack on the back. I do love the shape of these TRs, the shape of the bonnet especially, that power bulge there. And the way that the bonnet sort of humps over the headlights, I think it's just a great look. The TR4s, 4As and 5s are my favourite Triumphs of all, I think. Closely followed by the GT6. What a splendid gathering of Triumph Stags as well, look at them all here. I'm assuming this is a club stand. What a great assortment, a variety of colours, blues, reds, purples, maroon at the end there. Fantastic. If you're interested in future runnings of this event, check out the Weaver Wonder website there, which has, if I remember correctly, actually has a link to my video from 2022. So thank you very much for that. But yeah, what a great assortment of Triumph Stags. I wonder if they've all still got their original Triumph V8 engines. I'm sure they probably have. Shoehorning the Rover 3.5 V8 was a very common mod. Very common modification, but most cars have been put back, I think. So the Triumph V8, the original engine, now that some of the early car issues that they had with these engines overheating and so on, I think they're pretty much sorted now. What a great GT. Proper Grand Tourer. Nice woofly 3 litre V8 and an open top. What more could you want? Quite a few old cars over here. We've got the MGT-F. And the 6-cylinder MGC GT, it's on an F plate. I like those wheels. Centre lock, mini light wheels. Nice. Over here, a couple of MGB Roadsters and another huge gathering of Triumphs. The big Triumph saloons, the 2000s and maybe some of the 2500s. This one we've seen many times. Regulars on the channel will have seen this beautiful white car before. And here, another Stag. The Stag TR6s. TR4. Quite an unusual boot rack. I've not seen one like that before, the way it sort of comes down the back there. It's got all the rally timing gear, so presumably this is used quite regularly for road runs, such as that taking place today on the Weaver Wonder. Much instrumentation. And again, just wonderful curves on the front of these TRs. Let's go have a look at that TR7. I'm assuming this has got a V8 in it. Leyland special tuning. What a great little car. Pop-up headlamps as well. It's always good to see a few TR7s out here. Lots of TR6s have been preserved, but not so many of these, which I think is a bit of a shame. The reputation was a bit patchy in the 1970s, thanks to build quality and so on, but as far as cars go, few cars look more 1970s than the TR7, I think. Carry on over here. We've got a brace of Citroen 2CVs. Limited edition 2CVs. We've got a Bamboo here, which is one I don't actually remember. Again, full folding roof, so take advantage of this wonderful weather we've got today. Seats are nice and easy to lift in and out of these as well. Very quirky interiors. Oh, it's great to see those. Next to the Bamboo, we have another one which has been called Rusty, which I'm fairly sure isn't a name that Citroen applied to them when they were new, but given their tendency to rust, chassis in particular, floor pans and so on, many of these cars have been retrofitted with galvanised chassis by now. It seems like a very sensible upgrade indeed, so I guess the name Rusty isn't entirely inappropriate, although that particular example, maybe it was Rusty once, but it's anything but that now. Tucked away over in the corner, it was that wonderful Mazda RX-3 that we saw driving in before. Made such a distinctive sound. What a great car. The owner's had this around 25 years. And he's got quite a backstory with these. He used to race one of these, he was just telling me. What a cool car that is. Let's have a quick peek under the bonnet at the rotary engine. It's well hidden down there, isn't it? Such a rare sight that now. It's great that these cars are still being used. So what sort of power does this put out then?
Well, because it's got a 13B in it with a Weber IDA, it's probably about 150.
Is it? Wow. Wowzers, that's more than I was expecting.
Yeah.
Grief. So did they sell well here then? I mean, has this always been a UK car, has it, or has it been brought in?
No, they were nearly all bought into this country in 1972-3.
Oh, right.
And it coincided with the fuel crisis.
Oh.
So consequently, everybody wanted an A series at that time.
Got you.
Suddenly realised that they were really heavy on fuel. And then when they did start to sell some of them, because they'd just been left, quite a few of them had engine problems, overheating, tip
the rotor tips, isn't it?
Yeah, well, the tip seals had seized to the bore effectively.
Oh, right.
In a lot of instances. So Mazda changed engines left, right and centre early on.
Because Mazda really stuck with the rotary idea for a long time, haven't they? I mean, with the RX-7s and so on. And
the RX-8s,
wasn't
which
it?
they did, which have now ceased production.
So do they make any rotaries now at all? Or?
Well, I think they're actually making a rotary engine to produce electric power in their hybrid.
Are they?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, somebody is determined they're going to stick with rotaries.
Yeah, it's incredible, really, isn't it? Because was the NSU was that rotary as well?
That
The
was a
RO80, wasn't it?
That was a rotary. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. So people have tried it, haven't they?
Yeah, I think there was most of the manufacturers actually got a license in the late 60s because everybody thought it was the end of the piston engine, effectively.
So they wanted to get in.
Yeah. A number of Mercedes actually did a rotary sports car.
Oh, that rings a bell. Yes.
And then Rolls-Royce actually produced a diesel engine for a tank.
Did they?
Yeah, basically in the Cold War, from what I can imagine. But the guy that worked at Rolls-Royce said it never got more than 50 yards before it exploded. I think the idea was that because they were fairly small and compact, they could actually be put and replaced in the field.
Oh,
I think that was
Wow.
I think they got £10 million from Herd for developing it.
So have you got any more of these, or is it just the one? Is it now?
I've still got a race car. Same model, yeah.
Have you?
Yeah.
Do you still use that, or not so much?
No, not really. Too expensive now.
Yeah. Well, that's great to see that. It's lovely to see unusual cars. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the fact it's still on the road is just incredible, really, because it's not the easiest car, I guess.
No, it sort of epitomises 70s, though, doesn't it? The whole setup.
Definitely.
The original, the blue stripes down the side.
Oh, it couldn't be any other era, could it?
No.
That's a cracking little car, that is. It's just great to see it out and about here today on the Weaver Wonder. Right, that's the RX3. And there's a little Sprite there. TVR, the Porsche. There's the Triumph. Yes, it is a 1500, not a Dolomite. We'll have a quick scoot around because the cars will start leaving fairly soon on the run, and then they come back here a little bit later. I'm not sure if we'll be here for that. That's a beautiful, what a beautiful Anglia. That is an Anglia Super. I think that's the 123E. Oh, nice Alton Park badge. Wouldn't say no to that. Let me know if you've got one of these sat on your shelf doing nothing, because that would look quite nice on the front of something. Yeah, 123E Super, I was correct. Manufactured Halewood, Liverpool, 1963. Sold by a dealer in Crosby. Again, proper Bobby Dazzler, this one. We've been down that row already. MX-5, there's that beautiful E-Type fixed head coupe. Such a variety of cars take part on the Weaver Wonder. 4.2, it's quite a late car. This is the 2+2 that we saw driving in before. Slightly higher roofline, longer wheelbase. A little bit more practical, it's got rear seats even, unlike the standard fixed head coupe. What a stunning car they are. Some later BMWs, an MX-5, another TR4, and a beautiful Mark II Jaguar, 1964 Jaguar. Looks like later seats with headrests. A very agreeable car indeed. I do like these. Manual, presumably manual overdrive. And there's that Sunbeam Talbot. There's a little Spridget. What a lovely car that is. Two slices of Americana here. We've got the Ford Edsel, late 1950s Ford Edsel. Next to that, the Ford Model A two-seat Tourer. Left-hand drive. Big four-cylinder side-valve engine, 3.3 litre these. Really good cars, great vintage cars, such a usable car that is. Here's the mighty Edsel. This is a four-door. And there's a little MG, I think it's a TC. Another beauty that is. So you've got the option of the full windscreen, which folds down, and then you've got the two little aero screens, the Brooklands aero screens. If you want some proper flies in the teeth motoring, you'll need your goggles and your flying hat. Yeah, lovely. It's amazing just how close to the steering wheel you have to sit. Obviously people back in the early 1950s, late 40s to early 1950s were obviously a little bit slimmer than they are today, I suspect, because it's a bit of a squeeze getting in there, I would have thought. Yeah, beautiful car. Alongside that, got the later TD. Beauty that is. Next to the MG TD, we have a Morgan and an E46 BMW 3 Series. Right, we're over in the other parking area now. Got a Sunbeam Tiger V8, 260 cubic inch V8 under the bonnet of that beauty. These sound fantastic. That's on a C-plate, 1965. Is this the same one that was at the Combermere meet recently? Probably is. I think Harley's video's already up on the latest Combermere meeting. Check out his Car Traction, all one word, channel for that. A couple of Porsches, and here a lovely pale blue MGA fixed head coupe. It's quite a late one with that sort of stepped recessed grille. Presumably it's a 1600, yeah. That's got the 1600 BMC B series engine, twin carburetors. Originally they had the 1500cc version. Very cosy in there. Lovely, stylish little car. So many different sports cars here. Some new, some newish, and some old. And obviously we'll be having a closer look at the slightly older cars, as befits the old classic car channel. And here's that Series 2 left-hand drive E-Type 4.2 that came in before. There's a Jaguar badge there off an XJ. There's a left hooker, manual overdrive. You can see all the rocker switches in the middle there, a bit like the Series 1 XJ. That was something that was introduced on the Series 2 E-Type. It was a bit of a safety thing. The early cars had the sort of the toggle flick switches. Oh, very swish looking car. Just stunning lines, aren't they? Yeah, oh yeah. Got bigger backlights as well, the Series 2s, compared to the Series 1s.
So is it the scoop under the bonnet that's only Series 3?
Yes, right? I think so.
Okay.
And they'd lost the covers by this point. The late Series 1s also didn't have the covers either. Right, let's have a scoot along here past the MGTF. Bright yellow MX-5, of which we approve.
It's a Unos.
Beautiful MGB GT. Is that a Unos? That's an import.
What year is that?
Late 67, early 68.
Okay, because one thing I noticed about this one is it's all got the early interior and everything, but it has the reverse lights at the back.
Right.
So it's like one of the earliest, not
Well,
early ones.
They came out in about 66, didn't they? And they're the ones that didn't have the reversing
But
lights.
it's one of the earliest ones that did have the reverse lights, probably, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, there's another 2CV. We saw this one arriving when we were stood out on the road before. What a bonny little car that is. What a bit of fun on a day like this. Lovely little 2CV. Or rather, 2CV6 Special. There's a TR3 that we see so regularly. This gets a lot of use, this lovely little car. Alongside that, a Stag. A little MGTF. I'll head back along the row here and then we'll go and have a look over there, over yonder, because I can see some more interesting cars parked up over there. Yeah, every shape and style of sports car in particular. There are a few saloons here and fixed head coupes like this beautiful little MGA that we were just looking at on these painted wire wheels. What a great car that is. Of course, this row is headed by the burbly Sunbeam Tiger V8. Okay, here we are, next row, and a beautiful MG VA. I'm guessing this is probably the one we've seen several times before. Last weekend we were at Cholmondeley Castle for the big classic car show over there. And we saw one of these, so I'm assuming it's the same car. But look at that beautiful dashboard in there. What a stylish car. What a stunning car. Can you imagine doing a road run in that? Beautiful. Okay, let's head down here. Quite a bevy of various open top cars. Bentley, Lotus, Porsche, the chrome bumper MGB Roadster, complete with extra Lucas lamps on the front. And the spare wheel perched on the rack on the back. Frees up a little bit of boot space. British Racing Green Morgan. TR4A. BMW Z3. Maestro. An Austin Maestro on an E-plate. Okay, next row. MGB Roadster with hardtop. A very unusual hardtop. Fiberglass, I think. Ooh, is this by Heron, possibly? Certainly a very distinctive look to it. Various companies produce their own hardtops as well as the factory hardtops, and the factory hardtops were also fiberglass. Whereas Spitfires had tin roofs, metal roofs, all the way through from the Mark I Spitfires of 1962 right the way through to the 1500. They had metal steel roofs. But MGBs, for some reason, they always had fiberglass roofs. Even, like I say, the factory supplied hardtops were fiberglass. Next to that, we got a TVR Griffith. A big Nissan. And what's this then? Is this a 280 ZX? I'm not quite sure. Let's see if there's any clues around the back. Oh, it's a 300 ZX. Very distinctive, appropriate registration number as well. Supplying sticker, dealer sticker in the back there. Always good to see. Yeah. It's quite a rare sight now.
Just over 2 years ago, the final bid trying to, come to arrangement with them. And Mark Goldberg, his service manager, we've got a lot of trouble with them, so we're on first name terms now.
Fairly late Morgan 911s. What's this one here? 911 Carrera. On a T registration, so what's that, late 1970s, but done up in the earlier style, a bit like the old RS 2.7 with a little bib spoiler on the back. Lovely car. Got a Mark II Mini here. Looks like it's done up for a bit of rallying. Many extra gauges, timing gear and so on. Mark II's of course still had the slidey door windows. Well, it's got a Mark I grille. I'm confused now. So it's got the Mark I grille. But the larger Mark II rear lights. Either way, whatever. Beautiful car. They look really good on these gold mini lights with the wheel arch extensions. They really do set them off great. Next up, a Triumph Dolomite Sprint, the 16 valve Dolomite Sprint. Now we've got an Elvis. So what model is that? 1260 perhaps. Could be a 1250, but I'm going with 1260. Let's have a quick peek inside. Lovely Shell Motor Spirit 2-gallon can there, of which we approve. Wow, look at that, beautiful. Even though it's not a huge car, look how much space there is in the back there. And even up front, plenty of room as well. You've got a right-hand handbrake and a right-hand gear lever. The pedals are just like the little Dodge Tourer that we used to have, centre throttle pedal. You can just about see that maybe. And you might think it's a bit weird driving a car with centre throttle and gear lever over there, and presumably even the gear positions possibly in the non-standard positions. Sometimes they're like a reverse gate, but it's funny when you actually sit in these things, you just instantly, something switches in your mind and it doesn't make any difference at all. We've got a big Healey over here, didn't see this one pulling before, a 65 Healey 3000 Mark III, next to the brown Stag there. A great pair of classic British cars, as is this bright yellow Spitfire 1500. Roof is up, and hopefully that'll be amended before the day is through. Let's go down here and see what else we've got. An MGB Roadster on the Rose style wheels. It's got a walnut dashboard fitted to this one, a walnut veneer dashboard. So many modifications you can buy for MGs, it's not surprising that actually to find a completely standard stock example is probably quite hard now. Nice MG logoed mud flaps there. MX-5 Mark 1. Ooh. Well, I say MX-5, it's the Unos, so this is an imported car. It's a Japanese market car that someone's brought in a little bit later. But to all intents and purposes, it's the same as a Mark 1. And what's this here? An Austin Big 7. Very similar looking to the Ruby at first glance, but they never made a four-door Ruby. So this is the Big 7 of the late 1930s, about 1938 or thereabouts. Very similar grille, but slightly different shape. I think it's a little bit shallower grille compared to the Ruby. You don't see too many of these. Is this taking part on the road run? I think there are 2 or 3 different routes that are available to people who are entered into the Weaver Wander this year. I think the shorter route is 50 miles and the other 2 routes are 80 miles or thereabouts. Then the cars congregate back here a little bit later on. Yeah, it's always great to see little pre-war cars taking part in events like this. It's got the trusty peg on the choke as well. Lovely interior as well. Big wide opening sunroof as well. And of course you've got the opening windscreen as well. That's what that big chrome handle's for. Yeah, quite rare, the Big 7. Quite rare. Much rarer, I think, than the Rubies. Alongside that, a J registration VW Beetle. We've got a late arrival here in the shape of an Austin 7-box saloon, about 1930-ish, 31, something like that. Maybe it's going to park up and join the Big 7 over on the back road, perhaps. And again, maybe not. Parking up alongside the MG VA. Cars are starting to get ready to head off and take part in the Weaver Wander. Like I say, I think there are 3 routes to choose from. Heading the cars away is that beautiful Sunbeam Talbot Tourer. Following the Sunbeam Talbot is this very fruity sounding Ford Capri Mark III. There's that rotary engine Mazda RX-3. It's really interesting to chat to the owner of this car. He's been involved with these for many years indeed. He's broken several cars for spares over the years, which must really help in keeping such a rare car running on the road. There's our Jaguar Mark II. There's the Beaufort. Beautiful little Alfa Romeo GTV.
Good signing, long staying on. I'm very surprised, very pleased about that. Yes. Just got to keep it fit.
As you mentioned. All right.
No mistake in the Mustang. There's a little bonny Spitfire 1500, ably pursued by an MGB Roadster chrome bumper car. 5 Series BMW, the E34, TR4, Morris 1100, the ADO 16, there's the Cobra replica. I see too many of these VW Siroccos nowadays. Oh, stylish looking coupe. Like I say, this is the Mark II version, I think. The earlier car was a little bit more squarer lines to it, but very similar. Series 1 fixed head coupe. Four-cylinder TR4. Triumph Stag. What a beautiful sound they make. Stags as far as the eye can see. It's great to see such a huge gathering of these very distinctive, eye-catching and very stylish 1970s Triumph GTs. And of course these TRs as well.
Thank you for that, Joe. We'd never know.
What a great event. We must try and get booked in for this next year. It's the MGF. roof's folding now on the Austin 10-4. Off the cars head on their road run. Beautiful 6-cylinder big Healy. We've already had the pale blue MGA fixed head coupe, now it's the turn of the Roadster. Oh, look at these two, the little Austin 7 box saloon. Just waiting for some of the regular traffic to clear. They'll be heading into Nantwich and then out on their runs. How cute is that? That's followed by the Austin Big 7, that's a rare car. So it's almost the first and the last of the Austin 7s. I mean, obviously the first Austin 7 was 1922, the little chummy Tourer. But the little box saloon at the front there represents last of the old chrome rad Austin 7s, and the Big 7 represents the final evolution of the original pre-war Austin 7. Of course, the Austin 7 name would be used again when the A30 was introduced in the early 1950s, and the first Minis were also called the Austin 7. But whereas the pre-war cars, the 7 related to their taxation rating, the RAC horsepower rating, the later cars that were called 7s, that wasn't the case. Yeah, great to see those two pre-war Austins here today. The Americans are leaving, the Model A 2-seat Roadster with rumble seat in the back. We call them dicky seats. And there's the Edsel, the 4-door Edsel. Look at that. What an eye-catching pair they are. Still a few cars parked up here. Whether they're all taking part on this year's Weaver Wonder, I'm not quite sure. Maybe they're just spectating, I'm not quite sure. But either way, it's beautiful to see them out here on this fantastic day. MGBs are starting to move now, as is the yellow Spitfire in the background. So the cars will head off. Some head off over into the Peak District, and the others beyond Wrexham and over to Llangollen and the Horseshoe Pass, for those people who have opted for the longer route. And then they'll all congregate back here a little bit later on, and there's a prize giving and so on. So yeah, so all in all, it's a very jolly activity, aided by great weather, because the weather makes all the difference Originally the plan had been to do as with the previous Weaver Wonders and go through Nantwich town centre itself. Sadly that didn't happen, but the run still goes ahead, just slightly amended, that's all. So that's great to see. There's a little Spitfire, bright yellow Spitfire 1500, following the Morgan and the brace of MGBs. And another MGB here, following the 1500 Spitfire. Spot of extra fuel in the Alvis. Looks like the Porsches are all heading off together in convoy.
I wouldn't mind a...
The MGVA is also getting ready to go. Sun hats deployed. What a great sound this flat 6 Porsche 911 makes. What a cracking car that is. Of course the early cars air cooled, these were water cooled. Same with this one here. Straight cut gearbox in this rally prepared Mini. It's got the stick-on heating elements in the windscreen, very similar to the Works BMC cars of the 1960s. Driver and passenger have got headphones and intercoms. They clearly mean business. I guess with a fruity sounding Mini you probably do need an intercom to hear each other. Again, a fabulous little car. And the final car to depart today on the Weaver Wonder is this beautiful vintage Alvis Tourer. A very stylish way to drive around. You see the Alvis hair mascot on top of the radiator there. Well, that's it, the cars have disappeared. They're all en route on their various routes around the lanes of Cheshire and into North Wales or the Peak District, depending which route they've chosen. But yeah, there's a lovely turnout of cars, a real strong contingent this time of MGs and Triumphs, but also many other interesting cars, some later and some older, including a few pre-war gems. Those two little Austin 7s, the Big 7 and the Box Saloon. They were really great to see. That beautiful Sunbeam Talbot Tourer. What a treat it is to see that everywhere we go at these classic car events. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this particular video on the 2023 Weaver Wonder. I'll include a link to last year's event, which, like as I said earlier on, started off in the village of Hanklow before disappearing in various directions. That was a fantastic organised event as well. There's the little Morris Mini and the Lotus Elise. There's the little Austin 7. Of course, our original plan when we heard that the Weaver Wonder was set to go through the town centre, originally we were actually going to film in the town itself and show you some of the lovely old buildings here in Nantwich, but sadly that wasn't possible. The local GT40 replicas out and about. Let's see if we can get some footage of that. That sounds phenomenal, that car. Yeah. Look at that.
Heels on the bumper. Oh, right, yes.
That is nice.
Pops and crackles.
What it is.
We're home once more alongside the recently refurbished Ned the Shed. Check out Harley's car traction video for details of that one. And here's a bit of a treat waiting for us in the porch when we got back from the Weaver Wander. Was this, carefully rolled up in a poster tube. Maybe my youthful assistant could give me a hand if you could roll that out that way. I'll roll this out this way. And this is an old garage lubrication, a lubrication index, recommended grades for motor cars, motorcycles and commercial vehicles, 1936 to 1957. Thanks to Roger for kindly donating this to our collection of miscellaneous motoring memorabilia. What a great old thing this is. This would have been a reference chart in an old garage, a commercial garage. And it gives you all the details, so if we have a look. So it's what, 36 to 57. So let's see if we can find the standard, which is parked just behind us. So standard, you've got the 45 to 48, standard 8, but we don't want that one. Here we go, standard 1954 to 1957, 8 horsepower and 10 horsepower. So recommended for the engine in summer is Castrol XL and Castrol Light in the winter, slightly lighter grade of oil. There's your capacities. Castrol XL for the gearbox, which is 1.5 pints, and the rear axle, Castrol Hypoi, 1.5 pints. So that's that one. Let's see if the little Ford's on here as well. Have a quick look for that one. There's a later Anglia and Prefect, that'll be the 100E. But we want the 49 to 53 Anglia and Prefect. So there's all the oil details. The Castrol oils recommended for those two cars. What a brilliant thing that is. Straight out of an old garage of the 1950s. Thanks so much, Roger, for that one. Really, really appreciate that. That's a great old Survivor. Let's have a quick look inside Harley's shed. Ned, the shed. See what he's been buying recently. I think that gunk tin is a fairly recent acquisition. That came from Llandudno, the transport festival over there. And over here are some of the bulbs that he bought for the bargain price of 50p each at Cholmondeley Castle only last weekend. They should have appeared in the video by now, which hopefully will have gone live. These are just beautiful little works of art in their own right. 50p each with the bulbs in them. What a bargain. I'm particularly jealous of this one. I haven't got one of those. That's a really nice one. That rival one's pretty cool as well. Yeah, great stuff. What else is new in here? Cans. Haven't you got a new can?
Oh yes,
isn't there a new can?
One here.
Oh, this Pratt's can. That's a recent acquisition. Have you done a video on that one yet?
No, I didn't film that.
You haven't filmed that yet, no. We did give it a bit of a tidying up session. The paint wasn't great on it, so we did the old spraying a bit of paint on a rag, wiping it on, wiping it off, doing a bit, sanding it back, and all this sort of palaver, then the oily rag. And it's a nice stablemate for the slightly later Pratt. So what year did we decide these were?
Oh, I think they're both pre-war.
Are they?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so that's sort of just well, no, that's just post-war, that one, wasn't it? 46, was it? And that one's sometime in the 19th. That's 1934, that one, isn't it?
Yes, that's definitely pre-war.
So that's the Pratt script can, yeah. So that is slightly earlier than that. And they've both got the correct caps on, I think, haven't they? Which is half the battle is. Finding the tins is not too difficult, but more often than not, they're missing the correct caps. So bonus points for the correct caps on your 2-gallon petrol cans. And this lovely old wooden tool set, or toolbox rather, came from Llangollen, a little antique centre over there, just a few weeks ago that we went to. What a beautiful little thing that is. Handicraft tool set. Sold as foreign. Set assembled in England. Sold all over the world. What a cracking little thing that is. It's a great place to keep some of his old wooden tools that he's collected, but yeah, it's looking really good in here now. These plates are fairly recent additions as well. These have come from all over the place, these have.
I also got this Castrol can over here, that's quite recent.
Is that a fairly recent acquisition?
From that Llangollen.
Was it?
Yeah. That was where I got the gunk tin from as well.
Oh, the gunk tin that we looked at on the top up there, so they came from the same place, did they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really good.
And then there's also the little Castrolese one.
Oh, that one came off. That came off eBay, didn't it?
Little eBay find, yeah.
It's
Here's
a great
my
display.
young drive experience video.
Oh, is it in that one? Is it? Oh, right.
Yeah.
If you've not seen Harley's video where he went driving on the Young driver scheme at Alton Park in the fairly modern Mini Cooper, check that one out over on the Car Traction channel. And keep an eye on that channel as well for regular updates on Ned the Shed here and the many, many interesting things that he buys to put within it. These plates are fantastic. Ohio, 1948. Ohio. South Dakota, 1950. California, 63. And Ontario, Canada, 1960. Again, really great things to display. Anyway, I think that'll probably do for this particular video. Thanks very much for watching, and there'll be more videos along very, very soon. So bye for now.